Hey everyone, this is Mr. Van from the counseling department, and I've been working with the administration and teachers today to share the information that we think is most pertinent as we get ready for this big shift June 1st. I know there's lots of questions. Hopefully this will answer them, but you of course can reach out to all the important and awesome adults in your life at school to get the information, myself included. So without further ado, here we go. First, the big important information. And this is kind of like if you were going to take just the most important things, what would it be? So first of all, to answer any questions, these classes are entirely optional. We're building to 20%. If not all 20% show, that is completely fine. And as you can see in point 3 there, the whole thing we're focusing on at Van Tech is to really supplement the learning that you're getting online. We've been doing online learning for a few months now, a couple months, and this is going to allow for some FaceTime to connect with the important adults, your teachers, to see some classmates, to have a little bit of normalcy. Um, and so that's our big focus, but this is entirely optional. So it's really a decision that each student and each family is going to make together. And it's really not for me or anyone else to tell you what to do. So you can continue doing the online classes just the way you have done. As you can see further down, the second last point, the provisional final marks are still in place. This doesn't change anything. These are enrichment opportunities for you to get caught up, to ask questions, to get more information. It's kind of a cool thing. I think all of the staff in our school would like to have more of normally anyways. And so that's what this is all about. As you've probably heard either from Dr. Bonnie Henry or the Ministry of Ed or anyone else, we're building to 20% for June. So these 4 weeks in June are about building to 20%. And so there will never be more than 20% of the school at the school at any given moment. And we'll get into how that's going to look in a little bit. Um, as you can see on the point, I guess 4 it is there. It's like stay home if you're sick. It doesn't matter if it's COVID or you just don't know what it is. Stay home if you're sick. No questions. Just do it. Make life easier for everyone, please. It can be a highly stressful and anxious time right now, and we really just don't want anyone risking anything for themselves, for their families, or for any of the other people in our building. So if you're sick, stay home. Um, Parents and anyone from the community. Like there's not going to be guest speakers. There's not going to be people coming in the building. Only through an appointment with the office or administration can you come in if you're not a student or a staff member. So just a note for parents and members of the community there. We've already talked about how this won't affect anything with provisional final marks. Um, and one last note, the personal protective equipment, PPE, is entirely optional and it's going to be at the discretion of each student and their family and staff member as well. So do what you're comfortable with, do what is best for your family, do what's best for yourself. Nobody is mandating either having or not having that in every space. Okay, so moving on to just a couple notes about safety and getting into the building. Whenever you're on the property, social distancing and COVID procedures are all in place. So that's everywhere on Vantech, inside, outside, all of the necessary things. You've gotten used to these if you've been in grocery stores and things, for example. We'll talk a little bit about the way we move. We'll talk about social distancing, keeping your 2 meters, and teachers are going to be helping with that. In classes, we're going to have extra sanitation happening by the janitors at night. We're also going to have wipe downs. There will be hand sani in every class. As you can see on point 2, every single student is coming through just one door, the front door on Broadway. And when you enter, there will be the option you'll choose between either using hand sanitizer or washing your hands. Hand sanitizer will probably be quicker. Um, but you'll have the option as a student when you come in the building. And every time you enter the building, so if you go out and you come back in the same day, you'll be doing that. You can only enter the front. You'll be using the hand sanitizer or washing your hands each time. When you come inside the building, and I've already seen this myself, there's strips down the main hallways, kind of like you would have if you were on the road. And so just like with traffic in North America, stay to the right. So you'll see a line and all of the traffic's going to be going on the right side both ways. There are going to be some effects with lockers, and we'll come back to that in a second. Yeah, this stay to the right will also apply in stairwells as well. Okay, so classes, what are you actually coming back for? The first and most important thing, and perhaps because I know it's already Tuesday night, some teachers may have even already contacted by the time you see this video. Um, Teachers will be contacting all of their classes through Teams or email or possibly both. Whatever you've been getting your information from your teacher from already is what you can probably expect for them to contact you about what the June launch is going to look like. Um, the key things to know here are, number one, your teachers will tell you when you're coming in. Don't assume just because your friend is in the same 1-1 class that you are that you'll be going at the same time, because all classes are getting split in two. I think for the most part, we're going to see that done by alpha, but it's not necessarily. Teachers, I think, have that discretion to decide. So point two there, only half the class will be in at a single time. And this is to limit each classroom to, generally speaking, some exceptions, but generally speaking, a 30 class being 15. Um, you can't switch when you're coming. If your teacher says you're in the first half, you're in the first half. There's no like, oh, I want to come in the second half. You just, if you can't make it that day, you don't come for the other half either. Note on washrooms. Washrooms are open. We're definitely encouraging students, if they can, to use the washroom before or after they have their class. Um, there are going to be limits on that, just for sanitary reasons, and all the. It's just washrooms are an important place to make sure we're practicing safety measures. Um, Number four, there note that students and teachers are only connecting during their class time. So you can't, unfortunately, hang around after or go see another teacher. You can't wander between one class to the other. You really have to be just in the place you're supposed to be. Like, it's never been as important as it is now in this month. And then point five, this is just something to know, and we'll get to it in the schedule in a second. We're going to undo the block rotation for the rest of this year. So if let's say your science in 1-1 is now technically your last block, that's getting undone and it's becoming first block again. But this is going to have some ramifications, and so I want to get right into that. I've got a sample student schedule here. And as you can see, this is a very modified schedule. So, and I'll show you where you can get this in a minute. So first of all, we have week 1 and week 3, you can see in the top left corner, and then below it we have another schedule for week 2 and week 4. Okay, the top one is going to be your day 1 weeks. So in the first week of June and the third week of June, you're going to be having your day 1 classes. You'll have no day 2 classes in either this week. And likewise, on the second one, in week 2 and week 4, you'll only have day 2 classes. It doesn't mean you're going to have all your classes every day, far from it. This is where the information from your teacher is going to come in. You'll also notice on the schedule that all of the classes are only an hour, and there's time in between to get through. So classes are only an hour long. And reminder, again, going back to that, I just want to reiterate, these are optional classes. You are not required to be here. It's a choice made by each student and each family. So classes are an hour, and they'll end at 1 o'clock, actually just before at 12:50. 1 till 3 is giving time for teachers to go and connect online, to give more information, to take advantage of Teams, to prep for the next day, the next class, all that kind of stuff. So students will be in the building anywhere between 8:30 and 12:50. Each student's schedule will be different, and staff will be also generally on site, but they may work from home, but they'll be unavailable is what I think is most important if they're an enrolling teacher between 1 and 3. I think most of the counselors are planning to be on site for that 1 to 3, but you should really connect with your counselor if you've got a specific question for that. Yeah. Um, Other important things to note, and I put these on the bottom here, week 4 might look a little bit different. That was not going to be a normal week for tech. So the second, I guess what I should say is the fourth week, which would be part of your day 2 week, may look a little different. So watch for more information for that. You may not have classes as normal, but you can take this to the bank for the first 3 weeks. Also note that because of the size of music classes, some music classes may get split up separately, so watch for that information from Ms. Gilbert and Ms. Riegert. And if you have an off timetable class, watch for information from your off timetable teacher as to what that will look like. All right. So if you want to make your own schedule using this, because each of the teachers are going to be letting you know, like, hey, these are the days I'm going to see you, you may want to download one of these and fill it out for yourself. I've chucked it on my own website. I'm going to straight up publicize my own website here. Whether you're grade 11 this year or whether you're any grade, you can use this. So at mrvan.org, I've just created in the VanTech specific section, that's a menu at the top, and then COVID June schedule, and that'll take you right to the one I just showed you. Just kind of finishing this off, a couple more things. I know we're approaching 10 minutes here. Some key other information that doesn't necessarily fit into what we've been talking about, but really important. Cafeteria is going to be completely closed, both as a space to hang out and for buying food. So if you're someone who needs to have food regularly, make sure you're bringing your own food. It would be ideal if you can eat outside of the times you have class and you're on site. Um, the caveat to that is that if you are one of, I think we've got 60 students right now, I understand it, who are picking up food from school, and you can continue to do that at the same West Cafeteria entrance from 11:30 to 1. So you can still pick up those, but that's only for students who have been doing that for the last couple months. You can't suddenly just throw yourself on that and start picking up a lunch. Um, Point number three, no access to lockers. I believe this is entirely just because we can't have people staying still in hallways. We have to have the flow moving and people only in spaces to limit to limit the number of people in high congestion areas. So no access to lockers at any time without admin permission. You can contact your administrator if you need to get in for some reason. There's also going to be no change rooms in the gym. So students come prepared in the clothes you'll need for gym. And there's going to be no double blocks. I'm not sure if that was on anyone's mind student-wise anyways, but there's not going to be any double blocks in June. That may have an effect on what teachers do at the next point on final exams. Make sure you're in touch with your teacher. Your teacher, of course, will be letting you know what they're planning on doing or not doing with final exams. And then a note on the library. Library is not open except to drop off books at the entrance. So if you want to bring some books back, you can do that, but otherwise it's not going to be open, I'm told. That's pretty much it. Make sure you go back through this. We'll host the PowerPoint as well on the Student Hub for students to be able to see, as well as this video. Please ask questions if you're unsure. This is like uh, it's a stressful time, and it's totally reasonable for people to be trying to get all the information they can. Everyone in our school, I have to say, like staff and admin, have been working their tails off, and I'm very proud and impressed to work with this group, and um, happy to see a lot of you coming back in June because it's when I've gone in, it's just simply not the same without you. So looking forward to seeing you. Make sure you watch for the information from your teachers, know the safety protocols, and yeah, make decisions for this month around your education that are good for you and your family. See you soon.